everybody. Welcome to the home. Yep. Hi, John. Welcome to the home of the Sandanona Harehounds. We planned this. We had this program on our program card in 2020, and everyone knows what happened in 2020 and how it has now really put us on the other side of history, I think, and probably made our events more imaginative. But I'm very happy to be able to have everybody end up coming up here rather than indoors, in November. This way you get a sense of where the hounds live, what they sound like, and that they're always...
We don't get a sense of that. We don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that. But I do want to say they always greet you when you come.
Yes.
Unless they're about to be fed. Or something.
Well, no, they're especially...
Feel good. And also you get to see the building that they're in and the history of it. It's now 100 years old, just over 100 years old. It's a vintage building which Betsy will take you through and show you the many features that are in this building that you won't see many other places. Maybe some barns you will see some of these features, but it's pretty unique and still standing and still used, which is exciting. And also that you get to sit amidst this countryside where the beagling takes place and fox hunting as well. So historically, Morgan and Ann Wing founded the I know what they are, Sandanona Beagles. Beagles, yes. And that's the key word, Beagles.
Yes.
And then Betsy and her husband Jamie founded the Flint Hill Bassets in about 1968. 68. Roughly, around there. It's also the same time that Betsy became a professionally paid member of the, not a member, but huntsman for the fox hunt, Millbrook fox hunt. So she had a number of packs.
That was in 1978.
78.
That was 78, roughly.
Those 10 years later. So, and she was asked to watch the beagles then, right? The huntsman for the beagles, understand? And so in 78, the beagles and the bassets became one as the Sandanona Harehounds. And Harehounds is probably another thing that Betsy can explain to us and explain the status of hare in the countryside and what's going on. So there's a lot to see, and I think Betsy will say a few words about the background and what Sandanona Harehounds does, what it means, and then take us on a tour through the kennel. And then we can come back and enjoy refreshments, cold water, and have questions, and I think you can ask questions all along the way as well. And please ask a lot of questions while you're here. And enjoy. And
absolutely.
I'm sorry. One more thing. There's a poster here, which I hope people will maybe take some time to look at. And there are Gary, a joint master with Betsy, Gary Dykes, has the book of Sandanona Harehounds that they put together a number of years ago now.
For our 50th anniversary.
Okay.
But of course, things being as they are, it failed to arrive on the 50th anniversary. It was a little slower than that, but that was the intention. And it was a book that was put together by a committee.
Yeah.
We were told this was impossible, but it turned out to be.
And it's a gorgeous book, and the history is there, and so it's another one of those books that will become like a Bible of Millbrook, I think. It'll tell the history, who was here and what was here, and what was enjoyed. So yeah, so when Morgan Wing started the Beagles, that was over 70 years ago. And when Betsy and Jamie started the Bassets, that was now just over, well, 45 or so, something like that, 45 to 50.
50 some years.
50 some years. So Betsy has been leading people through this countryside for 45, 55 years.
Oh, time I was dead.
Okay.
I really think.
Okay. We won't go there, but there is a lot of history and a lot of stories there. So I want you to enjoy those. We also have some freebies that Peter Devers had put together about the Sandanona Harehounds. It has a floor map, in fact, of the floor plan of the kennels, and another little booklet on Oakley Thorn. And then we have calendars for everyone to take if they'd like. So,
And a bone.
and a bone, and 3 bones. That's important around here. So, it's Betsy Park. Thank you.
This kennel was constructed by the current Oakley Thorn's great-grandfather and was completed, we believe, in 1919, at which point the Millbrook Hunt had its first puppy show here. And Peter, wherever you are, correct me if I'm wrong, because I often am. But the intention of this kennel, the purpose, was to provide housing for a pack of harriers, which were imported from the UK, along with their huntsman. This is the huntsman's house. The kennel is built completely of tile and concrete and masonry, and it was heated for many years with radiators. And as a result, the interior was warm, but the walls were cold, condensation occurred, and I think by 1930 this kennel had a terrible reputation everywhere because it was damp. You couldn't keep it dry in the wintertime. The Thorn family had kept various hounds here after the Harriers moved on and basically became the Millbrook Hunt. We have photographs on those, which you will see as you look at various kinds of show dogs that were here. There's a little cemetery out at the edge of the lawn with gravestones and names. There's another one down by the gazebo. Very rich history here. But the kennel was basically abandoned at some point, perhaps around the Second World War. We don't know. But it stood empty for a while. That didn't do it any good. But when Morgan and Ann Wing started their pack of Beagles, the current Oakley Thorn's grandfather very generously offered them housing here. And the poor Thorns have been stuck with us ever since. Here we are still, many years later, and we are eternally grateful to their generosity for keeping these hounds on this place. New kennel space these days is hard to come by. But many changes have taken place. The radiators have all gone off to be recycled, and now we find the kennel is not nearly as damp as it used to be because it's the boiler in the house here kept the radiators going, but once everything fell apart, it was probably a good thing. And the kennel is oriented so that it faces south. It's very good for the hounds. They have pleasant places to hang out in the wintertime, and as you will find when we go inside, it's quite cool inside today. There are structures in this kennel that were built for the maintenance and feeding of hounds back before dog food arrived in bags. It was very difficult, I think, to maintain a pack of hounds. They butchered animals, they cooked things in these enormous cauldrons, which you will see. They were fed on oatmeal, things like that. And all of these features are still present in this kennel. And if you would like to join me, we will make a trip to the loft as well for anyone who feels up to that. The stairs are reasonably steep, but they're safe. And it's a wonderful, I think this loft here is one of the wonderful Millbrook spaces. And it's full of interesting things. So, shall we go? Are we done? We'll try to be quick. This window is shut. We use usually have the bitches in here. One of them, Basset Hound, can jump out of that window. So therefore, it is shut. She is the season after. This is what we have. This is possible. You would not believe this. She has also jumped out of that window, but she can't get there. They, I'm sure, had one person who was just in charge of feeding the hounds. They would cut up, skin and cut up fawn stuff, cattle, horses, whatever, and cook them up in those cauldrons. And then this chute goes up to an enormous bin in the loft, so they could pull a button, push a button, a lever, and stuff would be sent. And it was heated by two little coal furnaces there. One of my foxhound friends who came to judge the puppy show walked in here and he said, "Oh my God, look at that." He said, "I don't think there's another one of those left in this country." The Wilbur Hunt had a cauldron like that originally. This big room is where stuff takes place. And hounds come in and they wait to be fed. They go and are fed in that room. We have puppy show pictures. There's one here. There's another puppy show picture. And I would challenge everybody to look at the pictures of the landscape on the wall there and see those were probably taken around 1900 or earlier, because you will take trees. Okay. Those are ribbons in the frame there. Those are left over from the show dogs that the Thorn families had. And they were in the kennel. I can't remember whether this is the 30s or the 40s. I know there's the one in the other room is a terrier. There are many ribbons from a terrier show. And the dog on the wall in the other room is a Manchester Terrier, in case anybody's interested in terriers. And they are shut out here.
It's okay.
What's interesting about this building, we'll have to go back inside. They got all the slopes right. All this concrete slopes downhill so that water runs off. They got the angles right in the lodges. They all drain beautifully. And I think maybe this is a lost art, because I had a terrible time when we rebuilt the Millbrook Hunt kennels, getting them to get the pitch right so that water coming off the roofs, sea and everything else go out here. And everything dries fast. You don't want water standing around. And then we have two small lodges on the left, three bigger ones on the right that I will show you as we go through. And I have left the Virginia creeper there. It gives the basses some shade. So this is obviously not just for concrete. Excuse me, toddler, quiet. Ouch.
Do you know the names of all these?
Peter.
And can you tell them by voice?
Everybody asks, do they all have names? Well, yeah, they all have names. How do you tell them apart? Well, they're all different. Do they know their names? They know their names. They also know the names of other hounds that they live with. Oh my goodness. And right now, they're thinking, the zoo has come to us. They're thinking of all these people. The zoo has come to
Oh, be quiet. Where's your camera? Where's your camera?
I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now. So you're spending a lot of time practicing. And thank you for your input. Sometimes I don't know what my memories, and I don't know, and you doesn't know, and you come, and just I read them all the time now.
They're not all old, and the old ones have an enormous use in teaching the young ones. We take the old hounds out, we donate their puppies, and they're experts, they know what to do, they supposedly know what they're not supposed to do.
Exactly. They could teach.
Oh yes, absolutely. Okay. Okay, all right, we'll go down a little bit. The Bassett's Lodge here. Oh, there's room for all of them. Too many of you will come.
Little head sticking out his head, sneaking out. I've got, the light is so bright.
But they slowly
Mother doesn't like the sweet making her sad.
Oh yeah, it just looked like we saw an argument like that happen.
Now the Bassett's live here. They have. And they have a small southern exposure. So they're big strong things.
This drain is a great idea too.
And they have also because of the biggest hounds, this is the largest lodge. They all live together, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Most of the Bassets that were out there are either very young bitches or they're in season. So we have a lot of them in season. And yes.
Oh wow, there's 3 birds in this right now. So staring at us.
Well, their nests everywhere.
I see that, but they're not normally like glaring at us.
Now,
They might be the fledglings.
but you can see this trough in the floor. If you wash this room,
Yeah, just
water,
really.
water will drain right down. And there's a little kind of a flat place where those cinder blocks are. And it does stand there, but it's easy thing.
Pushing it.
Sweep it out, yes.
Very
too. And every year we say we have to paint the place. It looks terrible.
The dogs don't.
You might be able to tell that.
You're used to this, isn't it? She puts you in something like
That's
this.
right. It's a,
Lucky not.
The weather is weird.
Up in the corner. Look at the field birds watching us. Yeah. Young ones. See ya. In the nest. The other day, 850 canceled flights, 4,000 delayed. So where do the birds go at night, or the dogs go at night? What do you do when you gotta be someplace and you can't? Trigger garden.
Yes.
Talk.
Well, I think it's a train station.
Well, yeah, but we were in the trigger garden when we had to talk. Yeah.
Yes. I have an idea for a program, but I have to go get all the way over to Unionville to do it.
Red deer, bow deer, and European hare. And the hare found that it really liked Dutchess County, and they escaped. I'm sure the locals cut the fences so that they could go shoot the deer or something. But the hares escaped, and they, I think in 1919 or 1920, a vast quantity of them were shot. There was a bounty of them in Dutchess County because they did tremendous damage to orchards. They barked trees and so forth. They had no enemies. So I don't know what that's for, but I suspect that fox was in there at one time or another. It's a wonderful place because it has lots of ventilation, and we're looking. You see, we pointed at that grate in the doghouse lodge. Here's the top of it, and it goes all the way up to the roof tree where it's open, so that air circulates from that lodge down there and through the bottom, all the way up through the attic and out the roof tree. I find that interesting. And further over here, as an example of how we try to mostly usually full of oatmeal. Then later, when the plumbing and so forth was all installed, that would have been a hot water heater here. Maybe that was something to make things easier. You see the last of the radiators. Who knows how we'd ever get that out of here. But that bin is lined with metal, and you can open it up like that, except you don't want it to be really heavy. Yep. No, this is, you climb up, and I think you can pull a pin in here to send the oats down to those cookers down below. So they did think of everything. These grills used to be in the, they had open walls downstairs, the grills were there to keep the house from jumping in and out and so forth. And as I said, this is only storage, and there's not a whole lot of stuff here. Except that, as I said, that's the Molnars. The Molnars live in the house across the gravel. And they arrived separately from Hungary during and shortly after the revolution. And they met each other in Marseille, I believe. And Bela was a lathe machine operator, but he had worked for a man in Hungary who showed German Shepherds. And Bela met Morgan at a dog show. And Morgan was looking for somebody to live in his house and take care of the hounds. And so the Molnars were here for, Peter, how long? 50 years? Long time. Long time.
Peter's not up here.
They retired in 2000, basically. And they are in residence here at the moment, but most of the time now they're in Hungary. And this is Morgan's pool table, but somehow this didn't get out of here. In about 1985, Faley Thorne looked at the buildings on Thorndale, and the kennel was looking shabby. I was complaining to Oakley because the roof leaked over here, and it was leaking down into one of the rooms downstairs. And Oakley said, don't worry about it, he said. When it falls down, I'll build you another one. Well, we know when it's going to fall down. I think we're all going to be gone when it falls down. But Faley took an exception to that. So the kennel got a new roof, it got paint, it was absolutely beautiful. And of course then we had a big party. We had the Millbrook Hunt Puppy Show was here. People came from miles around. It was freezing cold, it was June, never mind. But we had a grand reopening. Now, I think that was 1985. Clearly, we need another one. So if I missed anything, I don't think so. If anybody has any questions, I probably can't answer them, but there we are.
Hey Betsy, what about
Yes.
the trap door over here? What do you think that was? The trap door.
Okay, the trap door, we open in the summertime. It opens onto the hallway,
Yeah.
but needless to say, when we're going to have 25 or 30 people up here, we leave it closed. It would be too bad if somebody fell.
Oh, okay.
Right? Now, feel the air come up through there.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
What did it used to do? What was it? Who put it in? And the
Well,
original-
it was part of the construction of the kennel, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because when you have lots of hounds in a smaller space, which considering how many hounds there are, it is, you need to have good air circulation. It's almost the most
So that's
important
what-
thing.
okay.
So that is why we have that, and that is why we have these. There's another one of these channels going from the Bitch's Lodge on the west side, up through the wall and up out the roof, right there. And they used to have levers so that you could shut them, but those things fell apart long ago, unfortunately. A lot of things here have fallen apart long ago, including quite a few of us.